Imagine this. You come back home after years of hard work at college. You are excited, you are proud. But the woman living in your house, she gives away your PlayStation 4 to a stranger. She calls her new boyfriend the man of the house, and she treats you like a guest in your own house. But here is the twist. That house, legally, it was yours. Every single brick, every room, every key. And she had no idea what was coming. Today, I am going to tell you the story of a young man who lost his mother, lost his father, and then, quietly, smartly, without screaming or fighting, he made his gold-digging stepmother completely homeless. On her wedding day. Stay with me. Because this story is about much more than revenge. It is about a son who loved his parents deeply, survived real pain, and in the end, won everything. Let us start from the very beginning. Our story is about a young man. Let us call him Alex. Alex was an only child. He grew up in a beautiful, loving home in a very expensive and upscale neighborhood. His family was Scandinavian, quiet, strong, and private people. His parents had been together since their college days. They were the same age. They were deeply in love. His mother was the heart of the family. His father was a very successful banker. Over many years of hard work, his father built an impressive portfolio of wealth. A big 5-bedroom house in an amazing location. Savings. Investments. A very comfortable life. Alex was a smart boy. He worked hard at school. And just before finishing high school, something wonderful happened. He won a full scholarship to study chemistry at a university in another country. Full ride, no tuition, no fees, everything covered. Life was looking good, but then tragedy struck. Alex's mother was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She was only 55 years old. The disease was cruel and fast. She spent her final days in a hospital, and during those painful last days, there was a nurse by her side. Her name was Grace. Grace was 40 years old. She was from the Czech Republic, and she was very, very good at reading people. She watched Alex's father, let us call him Thomas, fall apart as he watched the love of his life slowly leave this world. Grace saw a broken man, a wealthy broken man, and she saw an opportunity. Alex was 17 at the time, young, yes, but sharp. He could see what was happening. He did not trust Grace, not even a little, but what could he do? In their family culture, Scandinavian, private, respectful, a son does not tell his father who to love. That is not how things worked. So Alex watched and waited. After Alex's mother passed away, Thomas was devastated. He mourned deeply. For an entire year, he barely functioned. And during that year, Grace was always there, not close enough to be pushy, but not far enough to be forgotten. Every month or so, she would call Thomas. Just to check in, she said. Just to see how he was doing. Looking back, it is easy to see what she was really doing. She was keeping the door open. She was patient. She was strategic. After exactly 1 year, Grace stopped being subtle. She went after Thomas with full force. She was charming. She was warm. She reminded him of the good things in life. And Thomas, lonely, heartbroken, and only 57 years old, fell for it. Alex was now away at university in another country. He watched from a distance as his father started smiling again. And even though Alex did not trust Grace, he told himself, if she makes my father happy, maybe I should give her a chance. But deep inside, his gut was screaming the truth. After only 6 months of dating, Grace and Thomas got married. 6 months. They had known each other for barely half a year when she became his wife, and moved into his beautiful 5-bedroom house. Thomas had never really recovered from losing his first wife. His heart was broken long before Grace came into his life. And now, even with Grace by his side, his health was getting worse. He was only in his late 50s, but he was getting weaker. One day, Thomas called Alex to him and had a very serious conversation. He looked his son in the eyes and asked him directly, "Boy, what do you need to set yourself up in this life?" Alex was shocked. He did not want to think about what this question really meant. He told his father, "I don't need anything. I'm a man. I can take care of myself, and you're going to be around for decades yet." Alex also reminded his father that he had sisters, aunts with children, cousins who might need support. And Alex mentioned that he already had a full scholarship, so money for university was not needed. Thomas listened, and he nodded. 1 year later, Thomas was gone. He died at only 59 years old. Now, let us talk about what Thomas left behind, because this is where everything changes. Thomas had thought carefully about his will. To his sisters and their children, he left small amounts of money, enough to show love and care. To Grace, his wife, he left approximately 80% of all his money, several hundreds of thousands of dollars. She was well taken care of. To Alex, his only son, Thomas gave several tens of thousands of dollars, a meaningful amount, but not the bulk of the fortune. And the house? The 5-bedroom house in the upscale neighborhood? Thomas gave that to Alex. Not Grace, not half to Grace, not shared. Alex. Full legal ownership, papers signed, lawyer confirmed. Grace was furious. She tried to hide it. She put on a polite face, but Alex could see the anger burning behind her eyes. Because in that neighborhood, houses were incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. The house alone was worth a fortune. And it belonged to a 22-year-old college student, not to her. After Thomas died, something very uncomfortable happened. Grace, his father's widow, began to act strangely around Alex. She started trying to feel him out. She became a little too friendly. A little too warm. Alex understood immediately what was happening, and he was disgusted. He made it very clear, without saying a word, that this was never, ever going to happen. But Grace still lived in the house. Because over the 3 years she had been with Thomas, she had made herself completely at home there. She acted like she owned it. And because Alex was always away at university and only visited every couple of months to see his cousins nearby, Grace gradually started to forget something very important. She forgot that she had absolutely no legal right to that house. She started to believe, maybe because Alex never asked her to leave, maybe because he never made a fuss, that eventually he would just let her have it. She was wrong. And then, only 5 months after Thomas died, Grace started dating again. His name was Ivan. Ivan was only a few years older than Alex himself. He was, by Alex's description, a sleazy-looking man who had found himself a wealthy widow and was not going to let go easily. The couple became comfortable, very comfortable. The next time Alex came home from university, his home, remember, Ivan and Grace were acting like they owned the place. They treated Alex like a visitor, a guest in his own house. And then Grace said the words that sealed her fate. She told Alex that she had given away his PlayStation 4, his personal gaming console. She had given it to Ivan's cousin, someone Alex had never even met, because, she said, "You are too old to be playing video games." She gave away his property to a stranger. Alex smiled. He changed all his network passwords that same day, and he began to plan. Grace then told Alex more good news, from her perspective at least. She and Ivan were getting married. She explained it very simply. "I just can't mourn your father forever. I have to move on." Alex congratulated her. He also told her that he had just graduated from university, chemistry degree with honors, and had already secured a job at a local firm. He would be finding a new place to live very soon. Grace's face lit up, because in her mind, that meant she was about to have the house all to herself. She even had the nerve to tell him, "You always have a place in our house, though. You are welcome to stay whenever you please." Our house. She called it our house. Alex kept smiling. He told her he would probably be out in about 3 months. Perfect timing, said Grace, because she and Ivan were traveling abroad to her home country for their wedding ceremony and honeymoon. It was going to be a 3-month trip. And then, almost as if she had written the script herself, Grace asked Alex one final question. "Can you watch the house for me while we're gone?" Alex said, "Of course, I will take care of the house." He was very careful with his words. He did not say your house, because it was not her house, it was his. The moment Grace and Ivan left for their honeymoon, Alex got to work. First, he hired a moving company. Every single piece of Grace's furniture, her personal items, her clothes, Everything she had brought into that house, all of it was carefully boxed up, professionally packed, and moved to a storage facility. Alex paid for 4 months of storage in advance, very generous, 1 month longer than her entire honeymoon trip. He kept everything that had belonged to his parents, all the original furniture, all the family pieces, everything that was there before Grace arrived. Second, he changed all the locks, every single lock in that house. Third, he listed the house on rental websites, and within days his phone was exploding with inquiries. Because this was a beautiful, fully furnished 5-bedroom home in one of the most desirable neighborhoods in the city, with stunning views, professionally maintained. Alex chose carefully. He selected a wonderful family, a barrister and his schoolteacher wife and their 2 young children. They paid first and last month's rent up front. They signed a 1-year lease. Alex was completely transparent with them about his stepmother and the situation. He gave them his lawyer's contact information, the same lawyer his father had used for decades, so they could verify everything legally. And then Alex moved himself into a nice apartment in the city close to his new job. He informed his lawyer of everything: the storage facility, the new tenants, Grace's expected return date. All of it was prepared, documented, and legally airtight. Then Alex waited. 3 months later, Grace and her new husband Ivan returned from their honeymoon in the Czech Republic. They arrived at the house full of excitement, maybe talking about decorating, maybe planning their new life together. Maybe Grace was thinking about finally having the house all to herself. She put the key in the lock. It did not work. She tried again. Nothing. She went around to the other doors. All changed, all locked. And through the windows she could see a different family. Someone else's children playing inside. Someone else's furniture. The house that she believed was hers was completely, legally, and permanently occupied by someone else. Grace lost her mind. She screamed. She made phone calls. She threatened. She tried to cause as much trouble as she possibly could, but it did not matter. Because Alex's lawyer shut her down immediately. The legal papers were clear. The house had always belonged to Alex. Grace had no rights to it whatsoever, not as a tenant, not as a widow, not as anything. Her belongings were in storage, 4 months already paid for, very generous. And Alex himself? He never had to speak to her again. Not a single conversation. His lawyer handled everything. From what Alex heard later, Grace and Ivan eventually left the country together. And Alex suspected, correctly, probably, that they were going through his father's money fast, living a lifestyle they could not actually afford. So what happened to Alex? Everything. The house generates so much rental income that Alex does not even need his job to survive, though he loves his work and keeps doing it. The rent alone could cover his entire life. He helps pay for his cousin's university education, the children of his father's sisters, because that is the kind of man he is. He moved into a larger apartment with his fiancée, a wonderful woman he met at a restaurant near his office, 6 months after settling into the city. They are engaged to be married. He bought another PlayStation 4, not because he uses it every day, but because it was his, and no one had the right to give it away. As he himself said, "You give away your things, not other people's things." Now let us think about this story for a moment. Because this is not just a story about revenge. This is a story about loss, patience, and quiet dignity. Alex lost his mother at 17. He lost his father at 22. In between those losses, he watched a stranger walk into his family home and slowly try to erase his parents from it. He could have fought. He could have screamed. He could have caused drama. He did not. He went to university. He earned his degree. He got a job. He built a life. And when the moment was right, legally, carefully, and completely, he took back what was his. He did not steal anything. He did not lie. He did not break a single law. He simply owned his property, and he chose who would live in it. And Grace? She had hundreds of thousands of dollars, money that Alex's father earned and gave to her freely. She was not left with nothing. She had every opportunity to build a good life for herself. She chose to push too far. She gave away someone else's PlayStation. She called someone else's house our house. And she paid the price for both. If she had just been a decent person, Alex said it himself, he might have let her stay. He might have been generous. He might have looked past everything. but she was not decent. And so she found herself homeless on her own honeymoon in a foreign country with her new husband and her bags in storage. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you mistake someone's patience for weakness. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories just like this one. Drop a comment below. Do you think Alex was justified, or did he go too far? And if you know someone who needs to hear a story about quiet strength and patience winning in the end, share this with them. Until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and always remember whose house it really is.